Hello and welcome to the Pre-Chiro Podcast. My name is Dr. Ben Glass. I'm your host. I'm a chiropractor. And today I'm meeting with Dr. Kevin Jackson, a pro Chiro Connection, and he brought his friends. Dr. Kevin, can you get us started by just introducing who you're here with and giving us an understanding, giving our audience an idea of who they get to hear from today?
Well, we just happened to be at a seminar together, and you contacted me about doing the podcast, and I couldn't think of a better thing to do and include my friends. And of course, we're with George.
George Libertazzo, Rutherford, New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
And Gary Stewart, I'm from Riverdale, New Jersey.
And I'm Jeff Wack. I'm originally from New Jersey, but I practice in Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
So the
And I'm
cool
imagining you guys are at New Beginnings. Can you kind of talk about what brought you guys to meet up, or what the importance is for you guys to kind of leave your families and travel and meet up together?
Well, it's like a reunion every time. It's twice a year that we come back, and we one is we have to get our continuing education credits. We've all been in practice for 30 plus years, but it's like a homecoming for us, and it's a time for us to refresh ourselves on what matters most, and it's relationships within the profession. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you
And
for
just-
representing that. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go
Just
for it.
now, just to clarify, it's not like I left my family because my wife is here with me because she's just as chiropractic as I am, even though she's not a chiropractor. So that's the way it is.
While we're on that topic, can you kind of talk about the culture of chiropractors who have been in practice for 30 years and how it's worked for their families, how your family becomes involved in your life, and how practicing as a chiropractor is really a nice balance between life and practice, and even how you bring your life of being a chiropractor out into, like, how chiropractic permeates through your whole life just with your family?
Well, chiropractic for all of us it's a way of life, and it's a way of living, and it's a philosophy of life, and it's a philosophy of listening within, and all things natural. And for being a chiropractor, of course, my wife's a chiropractor. My one child is a chiropractic student, and my other child definitely lives the chiropractic lifestyle. So whenever we do anything that involves chiropractic, we usually do it as a family because it's just the way that we live.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's both saying, chiropractic is like a band of brothers. It's the only profession I can think of where we all help each other, support each other. There's no such thing as competition. The goal is to have every human being get checked by a chiropractor on a regular basis. And so we all attract certain types of people. And like I talk to my dentist, and my dentist doesn't always enjoy being a dentist because they don't have chiropractic seminars, or they don't have dental seminars where they go to support each other. Like once they graduate their dental school, they're going their own separate way. We all stick together as families. We vacation together. We support each other, and in the offices and out of the offices. And it's so nice to have a major support group that separates chiropractic different than I think any other profession.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just how we live. I mean, this gentleman I'm sitting next to, we have dinner every single week, one night a week. It's just like you said, we're there to support each other, and my family is there to support it. My children don't happen to be chiropractors, but they live a chiropractic lifestyle. I mean, we live according to the healthy laws of life and getting adjusted and doing things naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the way we live. It's a little bit different than the rest of most of the world, but it's a beautiful way to be. And being with people like this and other chiropractors, it's not just us. There's a lot of people here. It's just awesome to be connected with people who are in that same mindset and live the same lifestyle.
Yeah, when we come together like at New Beginnings, it's a joining together of a philosophy of life. And this is our family as well. These are family members that we've all grown up with over the past 30, 40 years. And our children come up in chiropractic, and we pass it along, and it's great to serve our communities, and you meet so many different people, and that's what's great about it. There's always a common thread with people looking for the same thing that we have as far as just our way of thinking, and it's great to share with people.
Mm-hmm. And here we are having a conversation with the next generation, the younger generation. I'm curious if we could go around and just talk about where you guys were at when you decided you wanted to become a chiropractor. I know you're going to have to jog your memory, but also reflect on the aspects of like your childhood and growing up and how that really helped shape you to become a chiropractor, because a lot of people don't realize when they were growing up on a farm, or whether they were an athlete, or whether they played a musical instrument, that it actually does help them in many ways develop into who they're going to become as a chiropractor.
Well, what it was for me, I was in high school, and I ended up getting a cold that turned into an infection, and my family doctor put me on an antibiotic. I ended up having a reaction to the antibiotic and ended up in the hospital with anaphylactic shock. And once out of the hospital, I was just really low energy and couldn't do much for the next couple of weeks, until the family chiropractor told my father to bring your son in and get him adjusted. And once I started getting adjusted, my energy returned. I felt great physically. And at that point, it was just something that spurned in me that this would be a great thing to dedicate my life to. So that's where I was at. And that's what we call a chiropractic experience. It was just a really life-changing experience. And I just carried it forward.
You know, everything that we do in our lives helps create our character. So no matter how you've grown up, it's going to give you life experiences that better relate to patients when they come in. So, I mean, I never got adjusted as a child, so I don't have that miracle story. I just kind of know I was born to be a chiropractor. I remember as a child, my mother went to a chiropractor when she was pregnant with me. And always as a child, she was like, you're going to be a chiropractor, you're going to be a chiropractor. But it never brought me to one, oddly enough. But I think once I became a chiropractor, everything that I've done throughout my life allowed me to understand where people are coming from better. So I'm practicing right next to the town that I grew up. So I kind of know all their life experiences are kind of similar to mine. And we have better examples and ways to explain chiropractic to them on a one-on-one basis.
Mm. Mm.
So for me, as a 12-year-old kid, I had a stomach ulcer that was horrendous. And my family took me to all the medical stuff for almost a year, until the medical doctors basically gave up. And that's when my mom found out about chiropractic, and my whole family started. I was kind of the lead person and kind of the impetus for us to go into a chiropractic care. And I just fell in love with the concept, the above, down, inside out concept. I mean, my family, I had to sit through an orientation before we started care with this chiropractor. I had to learn about what chiropractic really was. And at 12 years old, it just hit a chord with me. It was like, yes, it resonated. It like, this makes sense that the body is self-healing. And, you know, we got under chiropractic care, and my stomach healed up very quickly. I was eating pepperoni pizza again without any stomach pain. It was great. And, you know, I just fell in love with the concept. And eventually, you know, as a teenager, I really didn't want to go to college. I didn't like school in high school. But after I graduated high school, at some point, I just woke up one day, and I just feel God led me to this. I just woke up and said, I got to go to chiropractic school. And here I am, like 40 some years, 50 some years later, loving what I do. You know, it just, I can't imagine like not doing this. It's like, you know, just helping people live a better life in a drug-free lifestyle is just awesome. And it's just, you know, when you see children heal up, and when you see people heal up from things just by adjusting their spine, it's amazing and it's beautiful. And it's just, who wouldn't want to do this? What a way to spend your life. So.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of got started at 5 years old. I had bad headaches when I was a child, and we kind of lived in the country, and we went to a chiropractor, and my headaches went away, but the guy never educated my parents on regular care. And then as I grew into a teenager, I had severe sinus and allergy problems, and a different chiropractor that my dad had gravitated toward, he discussed that I was having problems. He said, well, bring him in. You got nothing to lose. It might help him. And that adjustment literally changed my life. I was probably 75% better the next day. And then in full disclosure, my goals as a career were being independent, making my own hours, and making a decent living. And that was kind of my motivation, along with the idea that, wow, this is really cool. There's no drugs, there's no surgery. And I was fortunate to go to Sherman College, and one of the first classes I had was a philosophy class with Tom Gilardi. And then the light bulb went on, like, wow, that's what chiropractic is? Because I honestly didn't really know the philosophy and the in-depth thread that goes through all of us in this profession that are in it for the right reasons. And it's a great way to live. It's just very rewarding, and you can be totally independent. You have freedom when you're a chiropractor, which is important to me.
Absolutely. And like you, I went to a chiropractor who didn't teach me the philosophy, didn't educate me about regular care. And so I kind of put it on the shelf. And here I am, a college student at the end of my bachelor's degree, not knowing what I want to do. And Temple University doesn't really expose you to chiropractic at all, even though you're a kinesiology major planning to become a healthcare provider. And so there's not a lot of presence of chiropractic on our campuses, and I chose a school for the wrong reason, the location. I didn't go to a Sherman college, and then I ended up transferring schools and seeing how vastly different the education could be, how vastly different a lot of people graduating and calling themselves chiropractors, they never even got exposure to chiropractic throughout their entire education. So that was the real inspiration behind this project. I'm wondering if you guys can kind of go around, share what your student experience was like, what you gravitated towards, and how it kind of shaped your practice. Maybe it wasn't in school, maybe it was after school, but maybe describe a little bit about how you practice, and just give our listeners a context for what it's like in the day of a chiropractor.
Well, for us, I went, well, did you go to Life?
Yeah.
I went to Life, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a brain freeze there for a moment.
No, it's fine.
We were at Life University when Dr. Sid Williams was there, and of course we were exposed to the Dynamic Essentials seminars, and he was a 1 in a million type motivator on the concept of chiropractic. And so, we learned that the philosophy is the single most purposeful event that you can portray as a chiropractor. And so, a day in the event or a day in the life of a chiropractor for me is going to be to see as many and help as many people as possible, not being attached to the fees or the outcomes for the people. It's just to adjust people, educate people, and try and connect them with their innate intelligence. And it's just standing back and watching the body do the work for you. And it's a hard concept. If you come from an academic background like all of us did, and just to stand back and say, well, look, I only play a small part, and then we're going to let your body do the healing, and then pass that ideology on to patients. It's a big life-changing type moment that you're creating for each patient that comes in. But that's the focus of what we do every day, at least what I do every day, is just trying to turn people on to believing in their body that is self-healing, self-regulating mechanism.
Most schools probably teach that, how to adjust. Not all schools, we're not going to get into that. But I think it's more important to know the why you adjust. So it's really important to go to a school that teaches the philosophy, the why you get up in the morning and why you want to even practice. I think that's the biggest key. And I think one of the cool things about chiropractic schools is it's like my wife was in law school, and it was all about being cutthroat and not helping each other. We're in chiropractic school, everybody is going in the same direction. Everybody's on the same boat. We all want to help each other. So everybody gets through school together because we all help each other. And I think that's part of how we form our practices and form our lives as well. It's really interesting because once you have the why, you know why you're getting up in the morning. And I guess, like Kevin, the goal is to help as many people as possible. I mean, we're only with patients for a short time, and so we don't need to teach them about the science of electricity every time. We just need to have to turn the power on. As long as we turn the power on, the body knows what to do. And so that's how chiropractic is kind of a whole lot more simple. We don't need to make it any more complicated than that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So to piggyback off of what George was just saying, like, I'm going to call it the synergistic energy between chiropractors and how we serve people and how we we work to pull each other along and to lift each other up. Like as both of these guys said, and I know Jeff would agree also, is that there's no real competition. We don't look at each other as competitors. We look at each other as to how can I lift my brother or sister up and help them see more people, and how can they help me be a better chiropractor so that I can serve more people. And we're all pulling together for the same goal, which is to raise humanity up. It's to, for me, it's to get up every morning and say, I pray to my higher power, I pray to God and say, use me today. How can I serve more people? Use me to the greatest extent that I can be used on this day. Send me all the people that you want me to serve. And I know in maybe in different words, these guys all agree that that's what we're all about. It's like it's not about how can we serve more people to build up our ego or to build up our bank account. It's how can we lift up the world by serving the person that's on the table in front of us? How do we lift up that mom who's haggled raising 4 kids and make her life better and help her children stay healthier? How can we help that father that's out trying to earn a living be a better father and be a better earner and have a better life for himself? It's all about lifting up together. And when we lift those people up and we lift each other up, everything gets lifted up. It's just the old adage that when the tide rises, all ships rise. And that's what this is really all about. And that's why we come to New Beginnings. That's why we're here to help each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I grew up in a small town that's 1 square mile with 1,000 people. So my 8th grade class had about 16 people in it. And I had a Palmer grad that told me to go to Sherman. And I just totally took it in full faith. Well, okay, that's where I'm going to go. And I went to Sherman, and it's a smaller school with smaller class size, and that resonated with me. And in the practice, it's just one of those things where every day there's no stress. I mean, you get up in the shower in the morning and you're excited. You're ready to go in and serve your people, and you're just looking forward to those new relationships that you create when new patients come in and how to connect with them and into your community. And I have so many people that I hear over the years, like, I've heard really good things about you, and it's from people that don't even come to see me. And it's really cool to have that happen. And when you leave at the end of the day, you're energized. You go home, and if you got stuff to still do when you get home, you're ready to go, because it's just a very fulfilling feeling when you get it. And until you do it and you experience it, there's just no way to really describe it. You have to live it, but it's just an awesome profession.
Mm-hmm.
How many professions where other children, or how many other professions where we want our children to be doing the same thing that we do? Like if you go to a plumber, his kid, odds are he doesn't want his kids to become plumbers. Yet we always want our kids to be chiropractors. Chiropractors develop in families. Like Kevin's saying, his daughter's in chiropractic school. My daughter's thinking about going to chiropractic school. It's just, when you look, it's generational, and that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. No, and I agree that the majority of students either have a chiropractic experience or they have family members that drive them and show them through, learning through leadership. Basically, I hear you guys. I feel as though this project is really trying to reach the people that are never going to hear the chiropractic message, and I'm trying to expose them to the depths of chiropractic and also provide a more organized path, because I don't know about when you guys were going through, the internet was not really around, but there's a lot of distractions and there's a lot of misinformation out there about what chiropractic is. And you've got chiropractic students and chiropractors representing chiropractic and saying this is chiropractic, and it's not really chiropractic, and it deprives people from just getting clear and getting ready for going out into the real world and living like you guys are talking about living. So I'm just trying to remove some of these obstructions which are interfering with people's ability to reach their potential as chiropractors. I don't know if you're aware, but the majority of people in my class and that graduate every single year are not really clear on chiropractic and practicing chiropractic at a high level. They either struggle or they drop out before ever even practicing because they either didn't learn the business or they have all kinds of reasons and excuses, right? School kind of distracts you with getting your license by passing boards and passing tests, and I'm trying to kind of early on get students ready and aware that they're becoming scientists, thinkers, artists, teachers, entrepreneurs, that it's a dynamic path to take, and keeping them on that path is going to be a challenge, more and more so with the shorter attention span. So I'm just curious, as you guys are like seasoned veterans, when you look at the newer generations, are you engaged with them? Do you hear what their struggles are? Do you see what their challenges are? And if so, do you have any advice? Do you have any recommendations? As a profession is one thing. If you want to touch on the profession, what you think the profession could do to support our students better or our young chiropractors better, but also then there's the education system, and then there's just chiropractors that are off doing great things. If you have any resources that you want to tell students, hey, find this resource, this is where you can tap into our network, or if you guys have opportunities for students to stay connected to the principal or stay connected to chiropractic as they're going through school, that's really what this is about here. I'm just going to turn it back to you, and I want to acknowledge that if at any time you guys feel like you got to go, or this is not, if you, I just want to honor you guys' time, because I know you guys are hanging out, having fun over there.
Well, thank you. You're very, very, it's great that you're doing this, and it's a great, worthy project, and someone's got to step up. Yeah, there's not much that we can do at the moment about the education system. It is what it is. You get in, you do your time, you get your education. It's expensive. It's when you get out, and it's also why you're in there, but there's lots of stuff going on while you're an actual student. But seminars like this, the New Beginnings, the Dynamic Essentials, the Mile High, there's so many different seminars that you can join and get on purpose, so to speak, that you can use that as your at least once or twice a year that you attend these, and you keep your mind active as what the philosophy of chiropractic is, what it isn't, what you can do as a chiropractor, what you can't do. But I think one of the biggest things to do is to find a mentor that will, and there's all kinds of us. I mean, there's all kinds of us older guys that are just absolutely willing and able. And if you want to pass our names and numbers on, and of course I'm a resource, and these guys are all resources for anybody anywhere in the United States. We could find someone anywhere that would love to mentor on students. I constantly have students in my office shadowing me, asking questions. We're of the belief system that we don't want to take advantage of students. We want to give to them. We don't want anything from them. They don't have to pay us. It's not a coaching program. It's just a mentorship, and finding mentors. It should be fairly easy, but that would be my best advice is mentorship.
Yeah, I totally agree. We talk about the internet being a distraction, but it can also be a really positive thing. I think it's wonderful that now on YouTube you can listen to BJ, you can listen to Sid, you can listen to some of the great chiropractors that came before us. So they're on YouTube. It's like with school. When you're in school, you can go to clubs to learn more. You can do things to help develop the why you're in practice, or you get bogged down in schoolwork, only worrying about the boards. And then when you do that, then when you come out, you don't remember how the why. Like my class, the valedictorian, kind of was having a hard time in practice, even though his father was a chiropractor, because he lost the why he was in practice. So it's important to keep the philosophy, the why we do what we do, and go into seminars like New Beginnings or Dynamic Essential or Focus or Mile High or The Wave. All those different seminars. Everybody there wants you to succeed. Everybody there wants you to grow and to develop, and because we need to develop our people that are coming behind us as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're never retiring, none of us. That's not what chiropractors do. Our goal is to continue to serve and love and to give. But we need to teach others as well. So we're all an open book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's really important as you go through school to surround yourself with friends who are also like-minded. Like I met a guy here that went to one of the schools that most of us would not consider the best philosophical chiropractic school. Yet this young man is a very principled, philosophical, on purpose chiropractor. So the school that you go to might be important, but being in contact with the right people, so to speak, philosophical people, people that will mentor you. And I agree with both of these guys, and I'm sure Jeff agrees that a mentor, as Kevin said, we're not looking to get paid. We're not trying to sell a seminar. It's just so many people that went before me, so many older chiropractors that unfortunately are not around anymore, mentored me. They showed me the way along the path and helped me become a better chiropractor and to serve more people. And I want to do the same thing. I want to help somebody else become a good chiropractor, a service chiropractor, a chiropractor that loves helping humanity. So yeah, we're here to help people do that. I feel we're all pretty successful in a lot of ways in life, not just financially, but in a rounded life that we live a great life as chiropractors. And I would like to see other people do that also and help other people achieve that for themselves also. So, having friends around you like we have right here, friends around us that are like-minded and can help us is important, but having mentors that have already walked ahead of you on the path to say, come on, this is how I succeeded. I'll help you succeed also. And that's what Kevin's talking about, having people come in and showing them the ropes, so to speak, that, yeah, we want to help you be an excellent chiropractor and live a great life also. So.
Yeah, and I would say, just because you're not in chiropractic school yet, doesn't mean you can't grab onto the coattails of a local chiropractor in your community who'll be more than happy to share their enthusiasm, their knowledge. You can shadow them, hang out with them. They'll probably even take you out to dinner a few times and treat you real well. But while you're going through your prereqs, you can't get into this stuff soon enough. When you get to chiropractic school, if you get to the right one, you'll get a lot of that foundation early on and just grow exponentially. But if you can go in with some of that head of steam already, that's a great way to start. And I associated in an office for a few years after I got out, which I highly recommend, unless you're a very, very strong personality with a very good business sense, especially now the business world is just crazy competitive in any industry. And to go into a town and start by yourself, throw up your shingle, and have all the student debt that you have to pay off, it's a lot it's a lot of burden to carry. So if you can work in an office and be an associate doctor with a principal practice, you're going to get paid to learn. And then when it's your time to leave the nest, and who knows, you may become a partner in that practice. That's happened before too. But when you're ready and you're confident, you've got all the tools and your procedures that you're solid with and you're confident in, then you go out and reproduce it somewhere else. And that's how we get new chiropractors out into the world and share what we know.
Mm-hmm. I just want to touch on a couple of things. One, they called Sid Williams the defender of chiropractic. And I want to say that from my perspective, and I've only been in practice 10 years, but the profession seems to always be on the defense. Defense from them trying to place medicine in the profession, defense on the schools shrinking, defense on certain schools closing, defense on schools not agreeing with one another, on and on and on. So I'm just wondering, when we zoom out, what are some strategies and solutions? Because I believe chiropractors are very solution-oriented. We would rather promote that which we love and that which is the focus of what gives us energy than get bogged down by things that are out of our control and quite frankly don't really deserve our time. So I'm just curious what you guys see as ways that the profession can get on offense. I'm going to just touch on a couple myself. This conversation here, if we cut this up and we get this in front of high school students, college students, now all of a sudden we're representing pre-Chiro. Just to let you guys know, I don't know if you guys know what a hashtag is, but it's basically a bit of information on the internet that is attached to this hashtag, where you could click the hashtag and see every other bit of information that's been posted in the name of that. And right now pre-med is at about 1.1 million, pre-PT is at about 900,000, and pre-Chiro is at about 200. So I saw this as a huge gap where the profession, you could say, was missing. That is a missing link. And obviously those professions are pouring into those populations. They're creating things like the MCAT, which is this shiny object that pulls people towards them. Not because they're better or not because it's more attractive, but just because it gives students something to do. So I've been thinking through, like, we're obviously not going to test people's educated intelligence to allow them to come into chiropractic school, but we do want to maybe identify a series of experiences that are essential to allow you to thrive in chiropractic school and really start to think, how can we expand in an aligned way this profession that you guys love so much. Ask new questions. That's all I'm saying. There's no presence of chiropractors on college campuses. There's no presence of chiropractic in guidance counseling rooms where they're educating students on what their provider pathways are. So, chiropractors are essential providers. We're essential to the general population. I'm just curious, because we have to ask new questions to get new solutions and strategies being created. I'm just curious what kinds of conversations are being had in 2022 amongst you guys who obviously have seen the profession for 30 to 40 years, whether it's being under attack or whether it's being incongruent, or whether you just honestly see the profession as being full of amazing people on purpose, living their best lives. I'm just going to turn it back to you guys.
Well, in defense of the profession, it's always been a David and Goliath type situation. I mean, let's face it, it started out as chiropractic against medicine, and medicine is a great big machine. And Chester Wilt, who just passed away, he did a great job exposing the fact that there's been a containment measure, so to speak, within the health professions. And it's like they're diametrically opposed to what we do. We do something totally different. So there's always been that David and Goliath type situation. There always will be that David and Goliath type situation. Now, within the profession, we could stand to unify. That would where the power would definitely come back to the profession if we could get all on the same page and drop our little differences that we have and that we weaken ourselves by constantly infighting. I think the best thing that can happen to start improving this type of situation is for chiropractors to stop being so self-absorbed with just their own practice and get out there and make themselves available. Like you're making yourself available through this podcast. We're certainly making ourselves available through mentorship. We've done so many volunteer and mission trips and things, but we are a tiny group. And that's where our problem is. We have small numbers. That being said, the sky is not falling for chiropractic. Actually, the sky is rising. If you look at the individual chiropractor, at least in our situations here, I mean, we are so busy. Each one of us is so busy. We can't handle the practices that we have. We make an abundance of money that it's a very, very lucrative profession. I mean, it's on par with the medical doctor, the dentist. In fact, in a lot of cases, there's better income from the type of practice that we have. But there needs to be a concerted effort within chiropractic to get it out there to the masses. And social media can play that role. And like you said, hashtags. I think if just every chiropractor who practices was on Facebook or Instagram and they constantly put out positive messages about chiropractic, testimonials, that certainly doesn't hurt the profession. I mean, so there's things that we can do that doesn't cost money or need a ton of organization. It's just getting people to drive that process. And kudos to you for what you're doing. Yeah.
And there's also a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that nobody realizes. Like the International Chiropractic Association not only fights our battles, to keep drugs out of the profession and keep us able to adjust children and do all those other things that we don't want to do and stay principled. But they're also in Washington fighting to expand and make sure that we everything chiropractic's included as a primary healthcare profession. Chiropractic's always been separate and distinct from medicine, as you know. And so we're not trying to compete with medicine in any way. And like Kevin was saying, all of our practices are growing. And if you think about it, medical schools might be getting more people and stuff in it, but how many MDs quit practice like within 5 years because they're not happy with what they're doing? They're not happy dealing with insurance companies and stuff like that, where chiropractic can stand on its own way better. So we may not have the most numbers, but I think chiropractic is growing around the world by leaps and bounds that you don't see. Other countries, they're working on opening up chiropractic schools in Rome and in China and other countries. We haven't reached out to the whole world yet. So that's just a different way of looking at it, as opposed to saying, well, we're outnumbered like David and Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things, and I think these guys are alluding to it, is that the fact that, Kevin said medicine and chiropractic are diametrically opposed. And that comes from the fact that, medicine is mechanistically based and chiropractic is vitalistically based. It's based on a living essence and an intelligent, the body being intelligent. And one of the things I was going to say to you about people who are maybe looking for a healthcare profession, or maybe thinking, oh, I want to go into healthcare. One of the things about chiropractic that attracted me was almost the counterculture aspect of it. The fact that it was an uphill battle. I'm a guy that likes a challenge. So, the fact that you're going against the grain of most of the population, you're going against the grain of medicine, who just wants to say, here, take a pill for everything. And that's not actually health. So the almost the like going against the system aspect of chiropractic is kind of attractive to me.
He's a rebel with a cause.
Yeah, it's like it's being a rebel and having a cause and having a purpose. And one of the things that I was, when Kevin asked me to join this, I was thinking about, as a young person who's considering the future and considering what is my future going to be. Right now, there's so many things going on about how are we treating our planet and how much pollution is there and so forth. And I think to myself, why don't we start right at home? Why don't we start with the human body? We've got people out there who are eating organic food. We've got people out there who are eating free-range chicken and free-range meat. Yet at the same time, they're polluting the internal environment of their own body with drugs and vaccines, and they're not thinking anything of it. So they're eating organic carrots, but they're taking a vaccine and putting foreign chemicals into their own body. It's like, how about we start with cleaning up the environment that we call our body by not polluting it and treating it with love and care, and using chiropractic care, using the innate intelligence within the body to allow the body to be as healthy as possible. Now, if there's a young person out there who thinks they want to serve humanity, or thinks, oh, I want to go into some kind of healthcare, but I don't know that I want to deal with drugs and medicine, chiropractic is the only way to go. I mean, that's the way to be. So, I mean, it's here to serve humanity and help, like I said, lift everyone up, lift the whole planet up.
Yeah, and our profession as a whole is just like any other healthcare industry. There's political things going on every day, every year. And our profession's only been around since 1895. Calendar-wise, it's not that long. Medicine's been around forever, since the Romans, the Egyptians, some form of it. So we have state organizations, we have national organizations, and that kind of dictates sometimes what we can and can't do in our states or communities. But by and large, we want to focus on what makes us different. We're not trying to be like medicine. We're not trying to reproduce other things. And we do have some people that get into our profession thinking they're going to lure people into the office under the banner of a chiropractor and treat them as a medical professional would. Not that they don't have their place. We've never said that. I have medical doctors that, we work together with some people. Sometimes medical intervention is necessary, and we can't deny that. But and I don't think we touched on this, but we do have, like at New Beginnings right now, there's a large group of students here. And there's a New Beginnings organization at Sherman College, Life College, that I don't think you even have to be in chiropractic school to be part of those organizations. So students can come to New Beginnings seminars. They can, latch on to us here early on and get some of that direction that they need to, decide maybe it's something they don't want to do, but at least rule it out and come here and get a good exposure to what's really going on and the passion that all of us have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I hear you guys. I'm listening, and one of the things, just to give you a background on what my week's been like, in asking these questions, I've come to realize that maybe a 30-second or 1 minute commercial that's at like a Hollywood level, that communicates chiropractic, maybe to audience at a HBCU, a historically black college and university, or maybe to high school students, or maybe to college athletes, that we need these little 30-second to 1 minute commercials, and they cost about $30,000 each for just a 1 minute commercial. So I hear you guys, and really, I think one of the gifts of the internet is that if you create a commercial as a profession, you could put $1 million ad spend behind it and target people that are in college, that are in high school, and get it right in front of them right there. They just have to click it or watch it. But I hear you guys. I'm just trying to kind of come to you guys for the answers, or not for the answers, but for the representation of chiropractic. I think that the more that I can highlight chiropractors with a message that is continuously coming up in every single interview. This is about my 200th interview now. I've interviewed all the college presidents, vice presidents, the admissions teams, the students at different schools, and we keep coming up with the same messages over and over. We could create little videos where it's like, no matter where you're at in the world, if you're studying chiropractic, this is the message that we keep hearing from chiropractic students. This is the message we keep hearing from chiropractors. And I think that's very valuable, because you talk about unifying. I don't necessarily think the whole profession's ever going to unify, but if we could get 8 or 9 schools globally, Barcelona, New Zealand, there's a new school in Australia, Scotland has a new school, and then Life West, and Sherman. If we could get all these schools to at least get their stamps and approve a message, it starts to build some momentum. Right now the schools are not really collaborating very much, to the best of my knowledge. You correct me if I'm wrong, but we have so much great research coming out of the Australian Spinal Research Foundation, and then the Foundation for Vertebral Subluxation in the U.S. Those organizations are not really working together, but they're on the same page. There's just so much opportunity to create connection. And if we talk about subluxation, I believe the subluxation is that the profession is not collaborating in a way where we're able to leverage our resources. Because you talk about all 4 of you being in practice for 30 years, seeing the volume you're seeing, having the resources. If it was easy for you to invest $100 or $500 or whatever into a commercial that aligned with what you believe chiropractic is, and you wanted to get that out there to these younger people, I'm sure you guys would have no problem doing that. I think the issue is that we don't have a lot of avenues to invest in, these offensive moves from the profession. I just keep coming back to that, but I know it's more just adaptation, because David and Goliath is all about how do we adapt to the environment that we're in as a profession. But anyway, I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you so much. If there's any final words, I just kind of want to turn it back to you guys. I was on your website yesterday, Jackson Athletic,
Yeah.
reading about that new technology that you're building into the football helmets to reduce concussions. I think that would be really cool just to touch on. It might speak to a high school or college football player and help them recognize how you being a chiropractor and just observing your environment, the people around you, has helped you find that. And then if you could touch on the fellowship in PA of Pennsylvania, Chiro Fellowship of Pennsylvania, that would be helpful, because I think you're the vice president of it. And any of you guys, if you're involved in the New Jersey State Association, or I know a lot of these state associations have 2 different associations. One's chiropractic and one's more legislative, or maybe they're both legislative, but one seems to be a little bit more aligned. If you guys can kind of just touch on other stuff.
Okay. Well, thank you for the time to speak about the exoskeleton. Essentially what it is, it's a device that tethers a helmet to the shoulder pads, and it protects the upper cervical area in the brainstem. It's one of the most vulnerable parts of our anatomy that's fully exposed. And if anybody knows about the occiput, atlas, and C2 area in the brainstem, it would be chiropractors. And so that's why I'm putting so much time and energy into the whole situation. And a light goes off on with every mother and dad that I expose to this information. They really don't know anything about the brainstem, how little of a force it takes to subluxate the area, what a subconcussive impact is, and what impact that might have down the road for the child. So for me, that's a mission that I'm working on to get the chiropractic idea, but it's through a piece of equipment. And so this year we're going to be taking care of 100 kids in my local area, the York Bobcats. Life West is sponsoring it, and they're going to take the data. We're going to use accelerometers on the helmet to measure G-force and angular acceleration. And if you can reduce head speed and head movement, you protect the cranial cervical area. So that's that part of what I'm doing. I'm also the vice president of the Chiropractic Fellowship of Pennsylvania. Essentially what we do is we try to protect the nomenclature. We want to keep the original chiropractic terminology intact for generations to come. So we put a lot of time, money, and energy into that. And we also keep an eye on the laws to keep chiropractic viable and open access for the public. We want full use of x-rays. We want to be able to take care of pediatric patients. We want to be able to do maintenance type care. And we see changes starting to happen all over the world, especially in Canada. And so we really fight against that. This is one of the things that we do. There's no pay. It's all volunteer. It's behind the scenes. And we're doing it to protect our brand of chiropractic for futures to come. So thank you for that.
I guess touching on athletes and stuff, the greatest athletes in the world already know about chiropractic, and they're not getting adjusted because of injuries. They get adjusted to improve their longevity, perform at their best. So they already get it. Okay. I guess on a state level, I'm more involved, I guess, in the International Chiropractic Association and state rep for that. And I guess we all want to give and serve to keep chiropractic pure, to make sure that we can practice with principle without, and be able to have the freedom to do what we want to do in our offices.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say thank you to you, Ben, because you're talking about, having ads for people, young people in school or high school students and so forth, but you doing these podcasts and putting out these hashtags is just an amazing thing. It's fabulous. And we kind of half jokingly touched on the fact that older guys like me aren't as good with the internet and the technology and stuff. I do try to use it and get information out there, but I'm probably not as versed in it as a younger person might be. So putting out this information as you're doing is amazing, and it's fabulous that's being done to try and reach younger people. And yes, reaching people at the high school level or even younger with the chiropractic message is just wonderful. And that's, I think that what you're doing is the way to do it. It may not take $1 million ad. It's just putting out enough of these things on the internet where young people see it is really important. So I think that's a beautiful thing. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and thank you for getting up much earlier in the morning than we had to. It certainly shows that you're committed to your cause, and that's a great thing. And it's not a hashtag, it's a number sign. Let's get that straight, okay? For us older guys. But I practice in Pennsylvania, just a little endorsement for Pennsylvania. I'm part of the Chiropractic Fellowship as well. And I don't think there's a better state that's strong in philosophy to practice in right now than Pennsylvania. And unfortunately, when you go state to state, you'll see the parameters are different in every state based upon their boards and the influence of the doctors on the boards, which reflects the way they tend to practice in those states. And some of them I would not recommend people go to. So you're doing a great service to help people do the research up front, seeking knowledge from experienced doctors such as ourselves. And I commend you for your efforts, and thank you for having us. It's so rewarding to be able to share our years of experience and knowledge with everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead. Sorry. No. You go ahead.
We would be more than happy to donate towards, if you're going to put together any videos or anything like that, it would be our pleasure to come forth and contribute towards that. So just let us know what we could do to help.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm like putting together a proposal right now. It's looking like it'll be I'll be the director, and it'll be a collaboration between, to be determined, but I'm trying to get as many of those schools that I mentioned and as many organizations on like one page so that it can start to be like this is a collaboration amongst 25 or 50 or 100 of our companies, organizations that are aligned with chiropractic, because I feel like there needs to, whenever I see, those pages that have 50 different sponsors, corporate sponsors, there's all this extra stuff that is not really chiropractic per se.
Yeah.
But we have enough like organizations and companies and schools and associations that comprise like 50 to 100 to 150 chiropractically aligned entities. So I just feel as though if we can start to create things together, that's going to be the thing that maybe moves the needle. And then obviously doing stuff for free like this moves the free needle, where anybody can access this information. But it's not to make $1 million movie. It's to make like $1 million ad budget so that professionals in that stuff. And, I often say traumas, thoughts, toxins, and technology. I'm not a big fan of technology. Matter of fact, I don't really like waking up before the sun comes up and being in front of artificial light, but it's the only time I really have available to do this. And this is kind of my life passion. For about 10 years, I've been working on this project now. So
God bless you.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for your time this morning, and yeah, we'll be in contact. And thank you just for being open to contribute. I know that everybody's open to contribute. It's just about having something to contribute towards that feels good, that feels right. That's and the same is true with students. I feel like students have so much more to give. One of the things on this platform, I have students interviewing students. I have students interviewing pre-Chiro students. And if you give a student a platform, they're so on fire and immersed, and they're reading the green books every day. They're going to seminars every weekend. They're at like a peak of that first hill that they're climbing, where their knowledge and their wisdom is getting up there. And then you go into the boards, you get bogged down, you go out into the world, maybe it doesn't go right, you go down, 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 and you have to kind of refine and reignite that fire, which is why people come to New Beginnings, Dynamic Essentials, and the list goes on and on. But I think that the more we can create a continuity in the structure of the profession, where people feel supported no matter what stage they're in, and they have outlets that are really easily accessible and organized, that's going to be the big deal. So the website's going to be Become a Chiro. I've been working on it for a really long time because I'm building it, but becomeachiro.com. And yeah, I appreciate you guys for joining me today.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for all you're doing. Much appreciated.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
guys. All right, peace. Take care of yourselves. That's the end.